Hi everybody, welcome to 5 Minute Ministries. I want to take a step from the negative of how we view Jesus, and I want to talk about the positives of how we are supposed to view Jesus, because it's not enough to just get rid of the negative views. It's very important that we implement the positive views. Now I want you to think about a human king for a moment. What a human king is and what he's supposed to be, and how we are supposed to treat that human king. Now when it comes to human kings, they are in a very high position. There's no one above that king. What he says goes. What he determines is law. And we are to speak of him respectfully. We are not to say bad things about the king. We are not to disgrace his name. When we are in his presence, we are to bow down and show him respect and reverence. We are to pay tributes to the king. We are to obey whatever the king says. If he gives a command, it is what we do. He is to take care of the needs of his people. He is to help those in need. When people bring their problems before the king, because he also acts as a judge. And that is how we treat a human king. Now, we are to treat our heavenly king the same way. We are to treat Jesus in those manners. We are not to be disrespectful with his name and say bad things about him. When you hear the name of Jesus these days, most of the time, it's in a very disrespectful way. They're using his name in vain. And that is something we should never do. We as followers of Jesus Christ should never misuse his name. If you're not talking to him or about him, you shouldn't say his name at all. Otherwise, you're just using it in vain. We are also supposed to bow down in reverence and respect and worship in the presence of Jesus. Because he is beyond just an ordinary king. He is the king. He is above all kings. He is the King of Kings, the Bible tells us. That includes emperors, presidents, dictators, whoever's in charge of whatever country's government. Jesus is above even all of that. Jesus also, as king, is to take care of our needs, and he does provide for us because he said he would. He is to act as our judge. We bring our issues, our struggles, our problems before him, and he takes care of those things. That is what he is supposed to do, because he is king. He is the man in charge. But he goes beyond being man. He is also God. And I'm going to get into that in another lesson. But everything that we do for a human king, we are supposed to do for him, including pay tribute. And that is not just giving money in the offering plate. That is doing things in his name. That's another thing. From a human king perspective, people went in the name of the king. And when people went in the name of the king, they were shown the same respect that the king would get. And we are supposed to do the same thing. When someone comes in the name of Jesus, we are to honor what that person says. And so that is what is supposed to happen. But I know we live in a world where Jesus is not treated as a king. He is not given the respect or honor and glory that he deserves. He is not giving the tribute. He is not given the tribute. He is not. People don't go to him unless they're extremely, extremely desperate, and then they don't treat him as king. They treat him as a genie. Fulfill my wish, there, Jesus. That is not how we, as followers of Christ, are supposed to treat him. He is supposed to be the highest authority, and that's what a king is supposed to be. The highest authority. He's where we go. Who else would defend us but the king? So it's very important to remember that Jesus is not just a nice man, a good teacher, someone who lived thousands of years ago. He is King of Kings, and he always will be, and he is to this day. And one day, he will rule as a physical king on this earth, and he will do it for 1,000 years. And he will not be a king that can be bought. He will not be a wishy-washy king. He can't be threatened. He can't be overthrown. He will reign for 1,000 years on this earth. And then he will make the earth new, and he will reign over that too. And There will be a glorious time. But who better to reign than the King of Kings? This has been 5 Minute Ministries, and I'll see you next time.